Thank you for tuning in and watching us. We've just had an amazing time having some dinner. Who enjoyed dinner? There we go. Who enjoyed cake? Oh, man, massive shout out to Joseph, Anna Marie, and Joe for making that cake. That was delicious. In case you haven't caught on by now, by the time you're watching this, birthdays happen, but tomorrow Dad is 65, so gold cards are flying around. And we got to enjoy some awesome community time, some chicken, some chips, some dinner, some cake, and now we get to do the nerdy time. So we got updates, we got some fun things, but before we do that, I want to, since we're in the room, we didn't really get to go around and say who's who, but the one person I do definitely want to mention firstly is, wait, David, you drove along, wait, no, Yako, you drove from Gisborne. 6.5 hours. Can we give it up? Okay, next, who drove like kind of far? No, everyone's like within Auckland-ish. No longer Whangarei. Yeah?
Palmerston North.
Palmerston North?
Yeah.
Phew! Alright, we got Palmy, man! This is awesome. Okay, so Palmerston North, Whangarei, at least is in the kitchen. Man, just servant-hearted all the way. No longer in Taupo, now here. Zeph and Alicia, very, very cool. But I love it, guys. Just want to say massive thank you, making the effort, the drive, being here, showing up on Zooms. But this is extra special. So for those of you who can't be in the room, I wish you could be, but we're here, so we're going to stay in the room and enjoy this, and you can enjoy the recording. But also, special mention to Tim from Rebrand. I'm putting you totally on the spot, but if you haven't met him yet, he is responsible for our branding. So Tim, hats off to you. The other Tim, it's my father-in-law calling me. We'll chat crypto later. Anyway, sorry, it's because I miscalled him by accident earlier. But really, super, super grateful. If any of you guys are in need of any design or branding or anything, like Tim and his team, it was such a pleasure, starting our conversations in December last year, up here doing big 3-hour sessions, really talking about, the heart and the vision of where the heck we're going with this thing, what it is, how we want to help people, etc., and turning that into something pretty cool looking, and really just refining our language and our message of how we want to help people with what we're doing. So it was super cool to go on that journey with you, and just keen for more, man. There's always another project of some sorts, but man, just excited for where we're up to at this point, because the last time we ever did this in person, we didn't even have that. We didn't have a website. We've been building our boat in the water, if you haven't figured that out yet. And there's always an update, there's always another version, and there's always something sharper and better and smarter, because, well, Dad's just smarter, so it keeps flowing. But tonight, we've definitely got some fun things to get into, so there's probably not much point in me waffling anymore. We might as well transition into the fun stuff. So why don't you guys put your hands together for Dad as you come up, and I will screen share so you're good to go on that end. And then that should be...
And the MACD is hiding there somewhere.
It is, you can click and there's two and you can choose which one and all that.
Here we go. So we are on the US 30. I'll just take it up to the 3-minute for now. Just get my sight set. All right, so we got TrendForce there, version 3. Ta-da! And the MACD, the new MACD. So I want to talk about the MACD, but first, also great. I want to echo Ty's words. Great to see you all. It's obviously everything we're doing is on Zoom, so we see a few little pictures at the top, but it's always great to see your faces. I mean, I think Ty and I are both very family orientated, very community orientated. So we just love it that we can get together like this and see some faces, enjoy each other's company. Been really awesome. So I trust you're enjoying your trading journey. All right, so let me just get focused here. So I want to talk about the MACD tonight. I just made a few notes on my phone, and excuse my voice. I kind of been having this cold's been hanging around a bit. So when I was thinking about what I'd say, we're obviously going to mainly just focus on the MACD because there's two little changes, not massive, but helpful changes that will help us trade better. I thought I'd just talk about the MACD, which I love. So I thought, what are 10 things that I like about the MACD? So we're mainly going to be looking down under today at the bottom. So most of you should know by now that this at the bottom is the MACD, moving average of convergence and divergence. And it's a phenomenal indicator. It was invented in the 70s by a guy called, I think his surname was Appel. So he invented it in the 70s. So I did a bit of research because I thought, gee, in the 70s, there weren't a lot of computers around. So they could only really do it on high time frames, like daily calculations. And so people only really began to use it on PCs in about 1990. Well, it's still a long time ago. For me, it was like yesterday. For some, anyway, won't go down that route, shall we? Now that I'm 65 tomorrow. So only really from about the 90s did people start beginning to use it like we use it today. So we take it for granted. Today we can just click and we've got the MACD there on the 1 minute or lower time frames, but that's fairly recent in trading history because trading has been going on for decades. So I mean, it's really a phenomenal indicator. So I thought, what are 10 things that I like about the MACD? And then at the end, we'll talk more specifically. The last two are things that we brought in for this version 3 update. So the first thing is it really combines a massive amount of information into one indicator. So really, this generally, things that appear on the top are indicators and these are oscillators. And generally they use this, I'll come back to that later, it's used as like a confirmation indicator. But for me, the MACD, I mean, I've made my own, I've always used to send lots of pictures, but I've stopped with oscillators. I made other ones to try and see if I could better it, but actually, you know, why try and reinvent the wheel? So we've added our own spin, but it's a phenomenal indicator. And so it combines a lot of information. Some people trade with things, some of you may have heard of the RSI or Stochastic, ATRs, volume and things like that. And if you look at some people's, I see occasional pictures of other people trading and they've got like layers of indicators. I mean, if you think this looks like a Christmas tree, you know, I've seen way, way worse. And so I mean, I've tried everything and I used to send pictures of like 4 different oscillators and when they're all matched, you know, that's when you buy. But I've realized actually less is more, and the MACD as a confirmation indicator is really all that we need. So that's the first thing. It combines a massive amount of information simply in one indicator. And number 2, secondly, it also filters out a lot of market noise. And that's what I really like. No wonder I'm getting a headache because you've got normal candles here. Ah, that's better. If you've got CDOs, we call it, it's way better. That's way less noisy. So, I mean, it's just incredible how it filters out market noise. So what is market noise? Is when you got lots of, like this is, can you see that's noisy? There's a nice trend there. Then we get noise. I mean, that's the market pattern. You know, you get a trend, then you get consolidation or range, then a breakout. And so that's very noisy. So if we turn off the MACD over here, you'd be wondering, is price going to drop? Because remember, when you're trading live, that's what you're seeing. Where is this trade going? You know, well, it's getting noisy. It's going up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. It's very difficult, you know, without a MACD to filter out all the market noise. So if we just turn the MACD on again, you can see over here on this 3 minute that we had a bullish crossover, that circle there, and then the MACD stayed in bullish mode. But if you look at this indicator, look how noisy that is. If we just, let's hope your measuring tool works better than mine. If we took that peak there, down to that, look at that. I tell you, they're cursed. We've got to pray blessing over these things.
There's a magnet. You've got a magnet on.
A magnet on. Oh, there we go. Can I turn the magnet off, Ty?
Magnet. I love it.
Oh my gosh, I'm healed. So look, there was a range of 132 pips there. Can you see that? I mean, from that high there to that low, that's a lot of pips, 132 pips. And it's all market noise. But if you look at the MACD, can you see, once you had that, the MACD already calculated from that point that the downtrend was over and an uptrend was coming. And even with this huge swing of 132 pips, it almost crossed over, but it stayed in bullish mode all the time. So think of that from that candle to that candle, so that's about 6 candles, that's like 18 minutes, 132 pip swing, but look at the MACD, how it stayed in bullish mode because that trend was over. So if you're thinking, man, there's a, what do you call that again? I wrote it. Lightning bolts. Thank you. Where did you come from? There was a lightning bolt, you know, you broke through an area of support. I'm going to take the trade because look, you're in a downtrend. I mean, the 233 is red, that's red. You know, your main trend zone almost doesn't look like it had crossed over. But what stopped us from taking a loss is the MACD was in bullish mode. So you would have, on the table, they would have been green. So it's incredible, even when there's a lot of noise. Let me just look at other examples. I mean, this is to some degree too. You can see how there's a lot of noise, maybe not a bigger swing, but from that high to, let's say, to that low, where that's 138 pips. I mean, that's a huge, I mean, normally this would be like way like that, but it's crunched up so we can see. But look, that crossover tells us the downtrend is over, and then it stays in bullish mode, even with that massive swing. And so that's the advantage of the MACD, because you think you maybe should take the sell, there's some seller momentum, but actually the MACD is saving you, because if you follow the rules, I've learned, never fight the MACD. So, I mean, sometimes it's going to break the rule of the MACD, but on the law of probabilities, if you break the MACD rule and break the rules, you'll lose more money than you'll make. So that's the second point of what I like about the MACD. It just filters out so much noise. When there's huge swings, it's still telling us, nope, it's still a bullish run. Obviously there was a crossover and it dropped a bit. So it's massive in terms of taking out market noise. And I'll show you with a little tweak how even more noise can be taken out. So also the other thing, it's also the best confirmation indicator. And so some strategies, I've looked at a whole lot, some don't have a confirmation indicator. They simply have one indicator, and that's great if you can make it work. But the MACD is great for confirmation. And so the MACD can confirm the trend you're in, obviously, so we keep the rules. So for example, if we look at this cell, what is the MACD telling us? Is that a good signal or a bad signal? Good. That's a very good signal. I mean, for a number of reasons, but we can see the MACD has already crossed over way back there, a few candles before. So when we get that sell signal, look at that. That's beautiful. Tana always talk about that kind of shape. You know, it's getting wider or running in parallel. That's a great confirmation. So if we look here as another sell signal, I mean, there's quite a bit of.
Went right way before the sell signal too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's by the time that's where you got a bright red sell signal, a strong signal. All right, then here, that sell. Okay, we'll look at that one. This one, you can see, was that a good signal? Yes, again, we got separation. We've had our bearish crossover. And so it really is phenomenal. It's actually quite a simple indicator, but it gives phenomenal information.
That one section between those cells was the New York Open. So you're looking at manipulation. That spike in between, look at the time on it.
So there's
the left, the green spike's going up.
There we go.
That's
okay. That's a stop hunt.
One big stop hunt, and then the continuation. Yeah. So that area in general you should probably avoid in terms of time.
Yeah, very, very volatile.
There you go, Tim. Stay up.
I'm getting in.
I mean, you know, those big institutes, you know, where those big banks, they make their money. Some of them, I've heard, they make their money just off. There's enough newbies who don't know how to trade that are losing money. That's where their money is. So when you press buy, they press sell, and when you press sell, they press buy. And that's how some make their money, because on the balance of probabilities, new people are going to lose money, unless they've got something like TrendForce, of course. So, but that's how they make money. It's terrible. So, I mean, we don't need to look at more. So let's just go back. Is there another good confirmation? There's a sell signal. So you can see, for me, I don't know if I'm an insecure trader, that one too. You can see these beautiful sell signals. Each one, we're safe. I mean, obviously we do look at high time frames, we look at our force table, but each time the MACD gives us great confirmation. It's already crossed over. And so it's one of the most accurate indicators. And I say, I mean, I'm just amazed at how accurate it is. So it's the best, one of the best confirmation indicator. That's why we looked at everything. We definitely settled that would be a great extra tool to have as an oscillator. All right, then that was what is that? That was number 3. Then number 4, what do I like about the MACD? It identifies trend direction. I mean, that's what I love. It is so easy to see where the trend is going. So often if you're just looking, if you were at that sell there, you know, you don't know, is it going to bounce up? What is the probability of that sell? Because that's what you're seeing live trading. It's always easy, you know, to backtest when you've got all the candles there. Everyone's an expert trader, everyone's an expert teacher, but when you're live trading, it's very different. And so because the MACD is so incredibly accurate, is that when you get a sell signal like that, and there has been, in this case, a bearish crossover, it becomes a high probability trade, because once that crosses over, I mean, obviously you get range, but if we just look, for example, let's look at this page, we can see Okay, there was a bit of range, but you can see there was a bearish crossover. Then there's a long gap. These are 3-minute candles. Then you had a bullish crossover. Then you had a small little pullback, but then there's a crossover there. Then there's one there. Another one. Can you see there are big gaps between these crossovers? And that's why it's incredibly good. The MACD is huge to identify trend direction. And especially with every indicator, the higher the time frame, the more accurate it becomes. You know, that's why with the 1 minute, you definitely need to look higher. But on all time frames, it's always safe to look higher, but especially when lower time frames like the 1 minute, which most of us trade on, is more volatile, it is huge. You know, once it crosses over, it tends to move in that direction for a long time. I mean, I still don't understand. I've looked and studied the maths of it, but there's some secret sauce there. And I think in the Python script code, it's built in to this code. If you just type MACD, it's going to give you the right stuff. But I actually don't know how they do it, how they can get such a good indicator. It's like phenomenal. That's why we absolutely love it. And so it's huge. Once you get the crossovers, okay, that was range. But if we just go back, you know, generally they few, when it's ranging, obviously in the day, you obviously get a range. But if we just look at this page, okay, so if we look from there was a bit of range, but there's a crossover, then there's quite a long gap, another crossover, then there's another gap until the next, there's a bearish crossover, bullish crossover, bearish crossover. Can you see, I mean, for example, let's just space this out here. How many candles? That was 40 bars, 40 candles. So that's, you know, 2 hours, 120 minutes. So there was 2 hours between those two. There's that one there. So that was how many bars is 24. It's still like 70 minutes. So, I mean, I think you're getting the point. You know, obviously in range, nothing works in range. But generally, when the market has got waves and it's trending, it is incredibly accurate to pick up that the trend is changing. So that was number 5. It's easy to spot trend direction. Then number 6. That was number 4. Number 5, it's easy to spot momentum shifts. And that's another great thing. So let's just look at when the market was trending here. So it's easy to spot momentum shifts. So you can see, I think we all know by now that when you get a crossover, it means, for example, that's a bearish crossover, then the histogram will start plotting below 0. All right, so this is the 0 line here, where the histograms meet with the different colors here. That's your 0 line, and you can see that over there. And so not only does it tell you if you're in an uptrend or downtrend, it's also very good in terms of measuring the momentum of the trend. And so often you'll hear Ty and I say in our live trades, gee, look at that nice separation. So as the MACD separates from the signal line, so the MACD's got the green, the red for downtrend, green for uptrend. As they separate, the bars of the histogram also get wider. So you can see here that at that point, the histogram is big because the width there is wider. So it tells you exactly what is happening, what the strength of the trend or the momentum is like. So when the trend is weak, you can see like here, it is very narrow. There's not a lot of separation. We can see here at that area, not a lot of separation. But as we get an increase, it kind of goes almost parallel. Then once price really starts to drop, and that was on the open 130, we can see how the gap between the signal line and the MACD gets wider, and these bars get wider. And then also we can see very quickly, once you get divergence, so once the gap closes between the MACD and the signal line, you can see these bars, that's measuring the difference, get smaller and smaller. So it's huge. It's huge for seeing the change in momentum. Is it increasing? Is it constant? Like sometimes we say, I don't know if there's an example, I think this trade may have shown it here to some degree. So when they are running parallel too, so almost there's some, looks a little bit parallel. We often say that, we love the MACD. If you were to say that in the trading, we love what the MACD looks like right now. It's either getting wider or it's running in parallel, and that's always phenomenal because the MACD is just so strong in terms of measuring strength of trend. So although this was a pullback over here, we can see initially, it widens quite significantly, and then as the trend starts flattening out, we can see it gets narrow and narrow. It gets very narrow at the end until eventually it's a crossover. There was a little pullback there, but huge. Like, do we look at this one now?
Is that NFP? That was 12:30 on. Yeah, that's.
Was that a news event?
One of the biggest news events of the month. That's why.
I mean, these are big candles because we've got it crunched up so you can see everything. But that candle there was about an 85 pip candle there. So if this was my normal screen, that's what it would look like. So we're just like getting an overview. And so it's huge. Even this trend over here, we can see, again, it starts off when the trend is not strong. We can see not a lot of movement over there. MACD picks it up. Then it starts to widen. And as it widens, the histogram is getting bigger. And then it's kind of peaks over there. And then from that point, we can see it's now telling us the momentum is falling off. Now, these are fairly short trades. Sometimes you get a lot more candles, and then it runs parallel. So when I'm trading, I'm always looking at the MACD and looking, is the trend increasing? Is it running parallel, or is it beginning to decrease? And so between our trend zone, so that's what we've customized. Obviously, I match these two, so it's easier to interpret. So is it increasing? Is it running parallel, or is it decreasing? And that helps you make good trade decisions, whether you're going to stay in the trade or exit. All right, then number 6, we're all tracking so far. This is also what I like about this indicator, the MACD, is it provides, and we did some of this the other night, it provides a lot of entry and exit signals. And so there's a huge amount of information. Obviously, with our strategy, we've added a little bit more. But there's a huge amount, and some people trade, I mean, I wouldn't advise it because you really need to understand the market. Some people just use the MACD to trade. So, if you're brave, you can. But with our MACD, we've added a few extra things. So there's a huge amount of signals. If we look here, we can probably count about 5. So if we just ignore that sell signal, we're looking at the MACD. Okay, let's take it from here. What most MACDs don't have a trend color built in. I've done that for our strategy because I like to know the trend when it's changing. So most MACDs, the MACD is, it's blue, is it? And the signal line is red, or we've got it the other way around?
Yeah, they're not colored.
Yeah, they're not color coded, so they stay the same color. But we can see, and this will be, when we release version 4, we're going to look more at even the color change under certain conditions. But that is telling you, okay, let's just ignore, that's spoiling the party a bit. Maybe there's another one that doesn't. But okay, that's not a red line there. That's unusual, okay? Let's just pretend. Didn't we do that as kids? Let's pretend that was the first red line. That is telling you that the MACD, the trend, there hasn't been a crossover, but the MACD line is telling us the trend has shifted from up to down. So that could be a potential early entry. We need to obviously give more coaching on that, but if you've rejected a clear level, if there was a fib line there or a moving average or a big round number.
You're almost off 700. Slightly.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. We rejected a big round number. Come on, there we go. In this case, now obviously you need to look at other factors, but that change to red means you could potentially have entered that trade early. Your stop loss would have been at the swing high. So wouldn't it be okay, these are big candles, but it may not always be like that. You put your stop loss at the swing high there, and you could have potentially gotten early. So that is a signal. Your MACD has changed color, showing the trend has shifted from up to down. Then obviously another signal you could take would be, there you got your bearish crossover. So some people, it can be risky at sometimes if you don't know the market well, but that can be a potential entry sign too, or re-entry. So sometimes you're in a trade and there's a big pullback, the MACD may go bullish and then it changes back to bearish, then that can be a valid signal. So that could also be a potential entry point. Then also, of course, in our strategy, we've got triangle down, which is re-enter, reverse or re-enter. So that triangle, you can see that was pretty accurate going up. That is telling you now the previous trade is over and the trend is reversing. So there's already 3 signals in the MACD just in that short space of time to show us that the trade is reversed and moving the other way. Then also with our indicator, we've added special momentum to the histogram, that also would have been, and you could have entered early, I think Ty pointed that out, you got a red bar. Histogram's gone bright red, meaning it's definitely going to move. And these don't change color often. So once they change, generally you'll see price tends to move. So most times, provided you're not in range, the histogram going bright red or bright green can mean you can get into a risk-free position. Even if it goes the other way, you're not going to lose money. So what's that? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is more dangerous, but some people also do this. Some people only enter a trade. Now, we never taught this, but it's just some people trade like this. When the MACD crosses the 0 line. So there's 5 potential signals already we've got out of this indicator, just out of the MACD. So that wouldn't be considered a late entry. If that's your strategy and you're happy to do that, even if you only entered when the MACD crossed 0, I mean, that's a whack amount of pips. So that's already 102 pips in that move.
Just highlight 0 a little more in case someone...
Okay, so let's
Just the
put...
middle. Basically, the dead center is when green turns to red, that middle scale. So right as the MACD slices into that red color bar, that's the middle point.
You haven't got horizontal line, have you, here?
No, but I mean, you can highlight. Yeah.
Well, it's fine. I just assumed, do you understand that's the 0 line? I mean, it's highlighted over there. Yeah.
It's just the middle.
So you can see, if we just look, let's go back to this trade. How many warnings did we get here? How many potential entry points just at the MACD? There's one. The MACD's gone from green to red. So if you'd entered there, you wouldn't have lost money. Then secondly, you've got a bearish crossover. That's another potential entry point. At the same time, we've got a triangle down. So look, I always look too. When you get 2 of those lining up, they don't often line up. But where you get 2 lining up, that gives extra confirmation that trend is definitely going the other way. So we've got a bearish crossover and we've got a triangle down. So there's good confirmation that is moving down. Then what else? We've also got, that also would be an entry point. Our histogram has gone bright red. You had a lot of pips from that move. And then also at the same time, can you see it's gone red, and what has happened? The MACD has crossed the 0 line. And that's where some people take their trades. So again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential signals just coming out of the MACD. So that's what also makes it a great indicator. There's so much that's like wrapped up. Now, I know if you're a beginner, it's like, wow, this is all I'm seeing is like squares and circles and triangles. But I assure you, eventually you take one glance and it's like in your subconscious. It's like when I look at the cockpit of an Airbus, you know, it's like, whoa, you know. But when the pilot gets in, this is your pilot speaking, whoa, look at all these instruments. No, he just takes one look. We got a pilot here, you know. You don't get overawed. If I sat in the cockpit of your plane, I think there's a lot of buttons and dials here. But it's like that with trading. It's like overwhelming in the beginning because there's just like so much and you don't see the details. But eventually, I keep saying, it becomes part of your subconscious. It becomes so much easier. So it provides great, I made some notes here. I think I covered all of it. There we go. That's number 6, provides great entry and exit signals. And also, we won't spend a long time, it also provides potential reversals through divergence. So have you clicked on all the divergence here, Ty? Just click them on histogram, divergence. There we go. Cool. I'll just turn those. So divergence is massive. So it's not a divergence lesson. So
there's a recording.
Yeah, there's a recording, but it's also great. And I'm convinced that when Gerald Appel invented this, I think this was an after discovery. That's what I think, because there's no ways you could have thought of divergence, and then I think he discovered this, or maybe he didn't even, we should Google it, who actually invented the divergence. So divergence, you can have divergence both on the histogram, like there's an example, there's bullish divergence, and you can also have it, I mean, it's a bit squashed here, but there's divergence on the MACD line. And so it's can...
Give a 10-second explanation.
Yeah, so basically how divergence works is when you get, you haven't got a parallel line here. Are you got a trend? We got to have a chat about your lines here, Tyler. This is like, you're not going to like your report. Your mother's going to like have some words with you when you get to report. And this is different to me. I normally have the trend line set, but you'll have to imagine it. So we can see there's a high in the histogram and there's a lower high. That's why it's plotted that line going down. But if you look at the corresponding lines here, there's a high and there's a higher high. So when you get a lower high and a higher high over a higher high and a lower low, you get divergence. So we got a line going that way there and that way there.
Opposite directions.
Yeah. Okay, let me draw it here. So there you got that line there. And there you got, I'll just draw them both in white. So that's called divergence. Can you see they're going in opposite directions? And very often when you get divergence, that's a sign of reversal. So you wouldn't have seen it from this. You wouldn't be sure over here that you're getting divergence. But over here, this picks it up because now suddenly, although price is higher there, momentum is lower here because the histogram is measuring our momentum and it's a lower point. So we can see what happened after that divergence line plotted. I'll just delete these. What happened? Price reversed and went the other way. And it's the same here is bullish divergence. So we can see here, there is a low and there is a higher low. If we compare what's happening for the sell, so there's a low and there's a lower low. So we can see, can you see those? They're moving in opposite directions. There, it's now bullish divergence. That's higher than that. That is lower than that. And what happened after that? Boom. Price reversed and went the other way. So that's phenomenal. I mean, I just love the maths and all this kind of stuff. It really always fascinates me. So divergence, and if you look back, you'll see you'll find a lot of examples. So there was some divergence over there, and then price dropped. And so if you just look back, there are plenty of examples. So it's huge. I mean, there's a whole lesson, as Tar said, somewhere on our videos. So it tells us it's a good predictor of price reversal. Then almost done. So number 8. This is what I love. It's universally, I've put here, it's universally applicable. So I mean, the amazing thing with the MACD is not limited to the Dow or the NAS. It works on all instruments and also works on all time frames. And so it's amazing. So originally it was developed more for like the 1 day and the 1 week. But if we just change this, I'll just take off the indicator for a bit. Let's just change this to, let's go to a 4 hour, for example. So here's a 4 hour chart.
Just double click it.
So we can see this is a 4 hour chart and here's the MACD on the 4 hour. Now, if I blocked out the hourly, you couldn't tell that this was a 4 hour MACD. It looks exactly like a 1 minute, exactly like a 3 minute. But it just works on every single time frame with every single instrument. There we can see, look here on the 4 hour. Let's just put here, if it's not clear, we can see here is bearish divergence. Over there, come back. I love you, come back. Okay, so there we got a lower high, and if we look.
On the histogram and the second one.
Oh, is that double divergence? Yep. This is a good example. So this is called double divergence. We don't want to diverge into our divergence lesson. Sorry, we can't help that. It's just my humor. But now this is the 4 hour. Can you see? Whether it's the 4 hour there, we're getting a warning at that point. On that particular candle, you're looking at the M.
No. Well, there's that, but then also I can actually reversal pattern at the peak.
Ah, yes, look at that.
Why didn't the seller come?
So this divergence is the earliest warning you're going to get, and it's not always the safest. So the probability of entering on it can ruin you.
Yeah, it is risky.
But
So
it gives you that earliest warning that things are turning.
yeah, for those who've been trained to sit on their hands and trade, not to lose money, you can slowly start just loosening your hands a little bit more, okay? But don't touch the mouse. But you can see, excuse me, at this point, on that candle, I've tried to disguise it. I mean, that looked like, if I took that, I thought, man, we are climbing up here. I'm going to press buy. But then you can see a divergence line plotted on that candle right over there, warning us, actually, this could reverse. And sure enough, I mean, on the 4 hour from that, so I mean, that dropped 1,600 pips Oh, well, that's the 4 hours. So
But if you're watching that and you're aware of that bigger trend,
yeah.
don't fight it.
So I mean, there's some great patterns here. So we can see there we got an M. Let's just take that off there.
Top, trend line grade.
Okay. Oh, here we go. We got people are onto it here. I'll just delete some of this. So there's a whole lot of stuff. What do we got up here? We got a big round number. 45,000. We got a big round number. We got an M pattern. And the rule is you got to break for, well, I mean, I'm saying that's how I trade. You got to break a trend line. So, and then we do look for a signal. I don't know when the signal came here. It may have come earlier. But there we go. Histogram. Now, it wasn't the perfect lineup because it would have been orange. But when you get a clear pattern like an M pattern and you break a trend line and you get a signal, our signal here would have been the histogram, because on the 4 hour, that's very accurate because that doesn't flash. You know, when last did it flash bright red, you know, days before. So that would have been a potential entry point.
There's no sell signal obviously because we're above the 233.
Yeah, it's counter trend.
But far away from it.
Yeah, but if you understand, I mean, that's what I love. I mean, this turns me on. Seriously, all these like things. I don't know if you find it exciting. I just love, I love patterns. That's what I love about trading. It's just like, it's just awesome.
Should have recorded that once. Right there.
Yeah, hey, whoa, hold on. Are we live? I'll be in trouble with my wife. I was watching the live stream. And I'm very disappointed.
What happens in the room stays in the room.
Yeah, what happens in Twist?
What happens on YouTube stays on YouTube.
Okay. All right. So those are kind of things we kind of covered. So maybe a few little new things. But what's new with version 3? So we'll turn off this main indicator for now. So what I've done, and I'm open to feedback, because I've just set the default. So
Start by what influence. I mean, this. Yeah.
okay. So basically, we were trying. Obviously, we want people to win with TrendForce, and we want. So I've got two things. So I'm going to start with this one first. The thing is, what should I trade today? So generally, I look at the NAS, I look at Dow, I look at gold, and then it's just too much trouble to look at the Nikkei and Bitcoin. With then I've got to look at the charts and try and work out what's happening. So I thought, wouldn't it be good if I could do a table that could automatically show us the trends of the most common things that we trade? So So our trend zone, we've now got a trend zone table. So before I click on, so it's similar, same design as the other table, but well, let's just turn it on. Come on. Show the trend table. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, dun, da, da, da. Now I'm going to make it large because just so it sticks out. There we go. So basically, you can turn this on now, and you can work out what should I be trading this morning. So this is our trend zone alignment. Gold.
Wow, that's awesome.
So if you wake up in the morning thinking like, I'm just going to risk it with the Nikkei, you're in trouble. Okay. Well, not necessarily. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's best. I mean, the whole thing with TrendForce is to trade with the trending market. So you can just turn this on and have a look at your favorites. So generally, from the feedback I've gotten, I can add or take anything off. Mostly what we're trading is the Dow, DW, the NAS, NS, Gold, GD, Nikkei, NK, and Bitcoin, BC. And then that immediately tells you, now what I've only done the 5, the 15, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour. That will give you a very good idea of the safest thing to trade that morning or afternoon or evening. Always, it's best to choose what's trending.
So the neediness, that M5, so that those dots are representing the trend zone on the MACD. Or overall?
No, this is the base. This is the trend zone. Are we above or below the EMAs, the main trend zones? So if let's just turn on this table here. So basically, what it's showing you is this column here, the zone alignment.
Yeah. What was the dot, which is now,
Yeah. So basically, what this column here,
that's huge.
zone alignment. Are we trending or not? So we can see at the moment in how we ended the day here. We can see the 1 minute was between our main trend zones.
Below, in between.
So from the M3 to the M15 were trending nicely, but the H1 and H4, 1 hour and 4 hour, were in between zones, which means there's an element of risk.
That's amazing.
So now all you do is press one button and you can immediately see what's best to trade. Now I think for simplicity, I've just got the 515, so you can get a quick, but if you want to put them all on, you can click all. And for example, if you're never going to click show, for example, you never want to trade Bitcoin, you can turn it off and hopefully, yes, it worked.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So you can really work. I mean, it's amazing. I just click on, I look in the morning and hey, okay, there we go.
And a bigger thing of why is the best trades are going to happen when you are on the other side of all those averages.
Yes, that's right.
If you're stuck in between them, like orange,
yeah,
you're in between danger. You haven't got space. But when everything's red, or everything's green, it's getting you really quick. What should I look at first? Right now.
That is so helpful.
So the safest way to trade. The safest way to trade is to trade with trends. So try and find the most lights the same color. That means you're either above, like there's gold, you're above every single trend zone on every single time frame. Now remember, it's not foolproof because obviously you could be in a pullback, there could be divergence, etc. But this should be very helpful for us to choose if you're deciding whether to do gold or NAS or Dow or Nikkei or whatever in the morning or afternoon or evening. You can flick this on it every time thinking, flip. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got the afternoon off, gold is all red or the NAS is all green, I'm going to jump on, I'm going to wait for a signal. And that becomes a far higher probability way to trade. So there we go. You're going to get that tomorrow. Is that Ty?
That's brilliant.
So remember, so what I do with this, I turn it on and off, but then I often have more than one chart open. So it is noisy having both. So if you can picture the way I trade, if I may put it in the bottom right-hand corner of my 8-minute chart. So I'm keeping an eye. It's not taking my focus on the 1-minute chart where I'm looking for signals. So you can open it on any chart. So you can I'll put it in the 8-minute in the bottom right-hand corner. So you can keep an eye. Because we've said before in our live sessions, we've had a Christmas tree look. And Ty said, gee, we're close. This thing could turn around because all the major EMAs, the trend zones are bunched. And sure enough, looked like a Christmas tree. Suddenly it's all red and we're in. And so you may be following, it may look like, the Dow's the best to trade, but then you're keeping an eye, then suddenly the NAS is all red. Wow, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to click over to the NAS and trade that. So cool, there we go. You're going to get that tomorrow. So we're almost done. What time are we ending? Last one. Having fun. So we'll turn it off for now for space. Say goodbye. There we go. Cool. Then the last thing. Now this is preparation. What do you say?
Then at least we can, because some people are going to anyway, we'll figure that out. I've still got to
Well, you only got the copy today. So then the next one, I've added one more thing that I think is a good idea, because the holy grail is we want to, obviously, to be safe in trading, just to look at one chart can be risky. Obviously, if all the lights are green, like I showed you, all red, obviously it becomes less of a risk to trade because you're trading with the trend. As soon as you get orange, you don't know what EMA could be blocking. Like I thought was a great example. I don't know if it was this Friday or before, Mark. I was looking at the 1, 3, and 8s and price dropped, and he said on the 15, there was something there. So I clicked to the 15, and sure enough, because we were in orange at the time, it meant we weren't clear. And on the 15, I think it was a 233, I can't remember, there was an EMA that boom, price hit that and absolutely stopped. And so when it's orange, it can be more risky as opposed to all green or all red. So we're trying to move towards, and that's version 4 makes it almost possible just to have one chart, provided the market is trending. And so if you're trading on your phone, like my youngest son, Michael, he's doing some good. I don't know how he does it. He trades only on his iPhone. He only does gold on the 1 hour. And he's like making some good trades. He just looks, because he's not an early riser, and he's a musician, so he's writing a lot of music. So in the afternoon, he just gets on his phone, changes it to 1 hour, and he waits for like these big swing trades. And he'll message me, I'm in a trade, and then he'll come up, because he lives next door, he'll come knock on the door, come inside and say, hey, Dad, I'm in gold, what do you think? And I'll zoom out, look at the 4 hour, the divergence or something. So so to trade on one screen can be risky, because you can't always see. Now the trend table does tell us what the MACDs are doing. What I've done is I've given this option. I've added this. Now, you may not use it initially, but when we get to this is like preparation for version 4. Because Ty hasn't even got version 4. I'm off to Taiwan on Thursday to speak at a conference.
Any photos?
I've seen photos, but yeah, he's going to get it this week. And it's still being fine-tuned, because there's 2 things we're still working out the best way forward. But we think we know which way we're going. But version 4 will be even easier. Same rules, same strategy. But like when you see it, it's like one look will tell you whether, like I couldn't do it on the Friday live. We didn't take one trade, but I've got my version 4 on my monitor. I thought this is going to be a winner. But it would have appeared that I was breaking the rules. So I let it, I didn't say take it, but everything was there.
Just like, give me pips.
Yeah. No, we're going to get there. Let me tell you, we're going to make a lot of pips together on this journey. We will, we're going to. So.
And just for Mike, I'm getting a shirt made. What's your line, Mike? I love big pips, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, I love big pips.
That's for you.
Yeah, my only regret was, I think I was saying to someone, that trade, I mean, every trade I put on our feed is always a live trade, but the one I put on Friday was a demo, because I was setting up for our live. I don't want to use my live account while I'm teaching. So I changed to demo, then this perfect setup came, and like version 4 said, this one's going to run, baby. And so when I took it, it was 100 pips, but it was demo. So anyway, but my demo account, I started with 5,000. I'm up to 230,000 now, my demo account. So, oh, look, I'm not boasting. I'm saying with version 4, since I started a week back, I've done 11 wins in a row on version 4. So it's looking really good. But Ty's got to look at it and test it. And then hopefully in a month or two, but I feel sorry for him, it's going to change the PDF that he's done so much work on. So that's what's stopping, let's be honest, what's stopping the release of version 4 is the PDF. Well, but okay, so
Like trauma from finishing that.
I'm on point 10.
You're actually all, yeah, anyway.
So I've added something that works, especially if you're trading off one screen. Now, you don't have to do this all the time, but what I've done here, I've got an option here, change MACD to 3 time frames higher.
Oh.
So in other words, this is now on let's just change it to the 1 minute so it's easy to look at. So this is a 1 minute chart. So what should happen when I change it? Because for a 1 minute trade, you actually want to also have a 3 minute confirmation on the MACD. So if I just click this now, and I said, change MACD to 3 time frames higher, it's going to look at that. Man, isn't that beautiful? As soon as I did that, I thought, why didn't I think of this before? So let's just turn, what have I done with the indicator?
Yeah.
So you can see now, so when you're looking at moves like this, okay, this is counter trend. You haven't got the counter trend signal on, but there you've got buy momentum, and look at this MACD.
Wow.
This thing, there was a bullish crossover at 5:45. So I mean, way late on the 1 minute, you can see how beautiful this looks here. Hasn't crossed over, and you get the MACD going bright green, and boom, up it moves. So you can see where there's big moves. Let me turn. What have you not? Let's just, have you got the counter trend signal turned on here? Counter, there we go. So this is for counter trend. This is huge. Let's just see where the counter trend signals are, because there's a counter trend signal. Now it's quite risky, because boom, look, you've got the 233 there and the T, but look at the MACD 3 times higher. That's saying, baby, we're on the way up.
Check that early sign on the crossover, the bullish.
There. Yeah, that's miles back. So I mean, this trade here. So look, it's not going to work all the time, but if you're on one screen in version 4, we want to try and.
Not now, but there's more.
Well, let's just measure
This is like an early little taste of.
So there's 142 pips there, but look, that MACD is saying momentum's increasing. I mean, it's just amazing. So look here. So here, look at this trade here. Okay, there's a lot of noise. I mean, from there, look at that. It goes bright red, and look at that move there, and look at how smooth that MACD is. That's 162 pips there. So sometimes the crossover won't. Now this is what we'll teach with version 4. There's a counter trend signal. We haven't crossed over, but look, what is the MACD telling us there? It's already turned around. 3 time frames higher saying, man, this is going the other way. So you could have waited there, waited a candle or two.
The 1 minute one obviously would have.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, the one would have, but it's just for one screen. If you want to be really safe, and if you see the parameters, I mean, it's just crazy. Look at this here. So here, look at this trade. Looks amazing. So look at the crossover here, and look at that trade. I mean, that trade dropped. I mean, that was a massive trade. I remember that one. There was 300 pips there. But can you see?
Yes, the MACD's covering it.
Yeah.
So
that's the
top section of the MACD.
Yeah.
The MACD box, like the top line, it's covering candles.
Oh,
That one.
Yeah, there.
okay. Come
I
down.
mean, well, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So I mean, from that MACD crossover there, and remember, this screen's very crunched. I mean, there was how much in there? There was 431 pips.
Wow.
So if you were in that trade looking 3 times higher, you can see there, boom, it's increasing. And there was no need to leave that trade. You could have stayed at all those bright candles in that big move. There were hundreds of pips there.
That's that open, eh? That danger zone.
What'd you say?
At that open?
The one.
Yeah. There was the. So I just picked this example, but if you look at other moves on other, it's just incredibly smooth. Especially when you get counted. So sometimes, okay, there you can see it's already green 3 times higher. That means it would have crossed over on the 1 minute already. But you can see once you get the crossover, look at that, it just stays incredibly. As soon as I did that, I thought, hey, this looks like. So for safe one chart, if you're on one chart, then obviously there that didn't work out. There sometimes it won't, but there may be other reasons to take that trade. If we went back, well, let's just look. I mean, not everyone will work, but then some would be incredibly low risk. So there you got a sell signal there. I mean, you could wait, but it's already going red. But you get the idea. Once you're in the trade and you see that look, that's a winner. So I think, Ty, I've gone through my 10 points. We'll close it there. Hopefully, what?
Is it all time frames like as always, or is it you find it best on a 1 or a 3?
I know all. I mean, if I'm looking at one screen, I like the 3 minutes. So if we put the 3 minute on, it's going to be even more smoother. Because now, yeah. So look at that. Look at that MACD now. I mean, that's phenomenal. Look.
Now you're looking at a 3 minute, which is smoother on top, and I guess a 9 minute.
And a 9 minute underneath, and it went red over there. So that's the thing, 3 times higher. That's what I'm working on. It's not, that's already red over there. So that would have been a safe entry. Plus,
If you want to find
histogram's gone red.
so can-
And I mean, that's just gone forever there. So if you're looking at one screen, you're pretty safe. If you wanted to enter on any, like that triangle down, that'd be pretty safe. Looking for signals. There's a seller momentum. That's pretty safe. There is triangle down. Look at that. It's picking up the trend, 3 times higher. And here's an example. Okay, this is a small, well, it looks small, but here's a little counter trend. That's the counter trend. I mean, this was small.
Triangles outer also really.
There's 50 pips. So you can see that's a big thing for counter trend signals. That makes it very safe when you got a MACD 3 times higher. So there's a counter trend. That's a bit late, but there was still a lot of pips. I mean, even that move there. Okay, that candle would have, I don't know when they would have plotted, but I mean, that's 70 pips there. So again, there's a sell, but this is the rule then. I mean, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that's already turned round. Anyway, I'll leave it there, Tal. Hand back to you. Hopefully that was
That's brilliant.
a question, Jody. Questions, yes.
We got Q&A.
If I have all my screens and I do the 1 and the 3, I still have my 3 and the 8, my other screen. Is it worth doing the 3 and the 8 and like a 15, if you know what I mean? So your second screen with the old 3 and your 8,
Yeah.
I've got a split screen on those. Would you then just get rid of the 1 minute MACD completely? So you have a 1 and a 3,
I mean, yeah, you could.
3 and 9, and a 8 and a 36, for example.
I mean, you could. I mean, I have to think that through. But version 4 is going to.
It's just going to get more smoother, really.
Yeah.
Version 4 is going to reset all of that.
Version 4 is going to make it way easier, way easier.
Just be patient.
So I've been tasking, he's only getting it this week, and I'm sending him the 2 options to look at.
All that just saying, like, we're always trying to make it better.
Yeah, but I was saying at the table 2, it's like we started like earlier than what we wanted to. We're still like, and so when you develop it, you get this what do you call those curves? I should know. Parabolic. Yeah, so like we are going through like huge change, but from version 4, it is going to start leveling out. So it's not every month we're going to come together and everything's changed. There's a lot of change in this parabolic early stage of TrendForce, but I mean, it's going to start rounding off where the changes will become less and less. So we're still in like, I think version 4 will be a big change, and we won't see a lot of change after that. But I know you're going to like it, because it just makes it so damn simple.
Yeah, you're not giving up. You're going to keep going.
So you just got to pray for Tyron to get the grace for the PDF. He's got to get over the PDF. So Ty, back to you.
Okay. Sheesh.
So good.
Yeah.
That's in the PDF.
How good was that? Yeah. Let me.
If he was healthy.
Hey?
If he was healthy.
Yeah, I know. Like he's actually been kind of sick for a few months, and we still get this. Let me unshare. I mean, what do you guys want to do? We don't have to rush out of here. We can. This is true. Would you like to?
Like a Bitcoin trade for you.
Huh? Question? Yeah. Fire away.
So I just want to get a glass of water.
Yeah. There you go. His voice. He needs a.
Before you go, you said your demo account went from 5 to 230. Yes. How long did that take?
It took about 2 years, I think, but I don't use it a lot, you know. And I did some of them with swing trades that were quite big, so I've done all things. So it took about 2 years from 5,000. I think it's
Cool. Right.
Yeah.
So all things are possible.
Yeah. To clarify, was it within that week of testing version 4?
That's
Yeah.
the promise, isn't it? That's the promise.
Yeah. There's Chuckies. I don't know if Dad, are you gonna bring the chocolate with you when you come back with the water?
No chocolates. I changed my mind.
Okay, there's no chocolates. They've been reassigned. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Fire away. Anything?
This, so sorry, I'm just blank here now. The MACD. So no one ever said, oh, I was looking at the MACD, but actually it was different. Is the MACD that accurate? Can we really trust the MACD?
The MACD, I will quote someone who's been trading for 23 years, the most powerful tool ever made.
Yeah, it's definitely one.
So that's why, like, we went through a season where, Dad, I don't know how long you didn't use it for, but I've never been able to stop using it ever since. Because the first guy I ever learned from had his entire strategy was divergence led. The first thing you were trained to spot was divergence. So you were spotting the early turnaround, then looking for a signal. So once you've got that baked into your system, you can't, and once you start seeing what this thing tells you, I'll say that there's 16 different ways to read divergence off a MACD. I can't tell you all of them off the top of my head, but I can tell you about half of them. But when you're used to seeing that all the time, you kind of feel like how do I express it? You feel like you're driving with like one eye if you take it off. Oh, no, thanks, I want a bit. So I have never been able to not have the MACD. I've spoken to some guys who try without it because they figured out a way to this, that, whatever. I'm like, once you've traded with it and you see the information that it gives you, because divergence is the only, let me get this right, leading indicator. So some indicators will be lagging. So like a moving average is like there's some of the indicators are taking in the information, and by the time they're presenting you with some form of conclusion, it's a lagging indicator. But learning to read divergence is the leading indicator. So you're seeing something before something happens. So you're seeing that this thing is divergent, we should see a turnaround soon. So it's the earliest warning that something's about to happen. And once you learn to read that, I've never been able to not have a MACD. So it is extremely powerful. And there's a lot of different things you can do with it. As you can see tonight, I guess the most important thing is to try and keep it as simple as possible in the beginning, because we have, well, by we I mean Dad, has juiced this thing up with so many, like you can see, we've got the triangles, the circles, the crossovers, the colors changing lines, the histogram changing lines. There's so much information there, which if you're familiar with the key components, then those things will jump at you at the right time. Otherwise, you might just go, I actually think I need to turn some things off, or just limit what I'm looking for. Like I'm just looking for this and this and this, and I'm going to take the simple ones and not try to hone my entry, because honing your entries to precision is not usually your first 6 months to a year. You're just trying to get profitable, get consistent, and then you just want to try and get in earlier. And the MACD can get you in earlier, but it's also can be riskier if you haven't got all those basics down. Hope that's kind of answering. But yeah, in terms of how that thing performs, it's Also the thing about divergence, and this will be in that other video we did, you can get triple divergence. So you can have a high and a high, and it looks like, and it'll reverse a little bit, but then it can push up and give you a third high. So you could potentially be sucked into joining a reversal trade a little bit too early, and it pushes up, and if you've got a very tight stop, you're going to get knocked out. So that's the reason why we'll stop trading reversals with divergence, because it can give you a third one just to slap you, and then it goes where you think it's going to go. It is just the probabilities of it are not enough to trade only that way.
It's for a warning.
It's a warning. Like, I know guys who will just look for a key level and there's divergence. They'll just slap on a sell in the middle of a buy candle kind of thing. Like, there's no confirmation, and they'll just chuck a 30 pip stop on it, and there's nothing stopping that thing to keep going higher. Works for some, not for most. Like, that's a guy with 20 years of experience, and like, it's risky. It can work, but it's definitely not how I would ever tell someone to start. But the information that thing gives you is very, very, very powerful. So the 3 time frames higher thing is pretty rock and roll. Yeah.
You're saying maybe tomorrow, was it, for the new MACD?
Tomorrow-
Both functions or just one?
Both. It's baked into one. So it's the table is baked into V3 of the MACD.
Let's go to the options.
Oh yeah. So inside of the options, everyone will see this. So this is the MACD.
There's the 3 times high.
So we've got. Where's the? I'm
right
still.
at the top is the 3 times high square. One down there we go. Change MACD to 3 times.
So when you click this on or off, you are going to adjust your MACD to. See there, it's going to go back to a 1 minute MACD. No, 3 minute, because we're on a 3 minute chart. So let me just do this. So now we're on a 1 minute chart, just to keep us all level headed. And if I go to the settings on this MACD, now this MACD is a normal standard 1 minute MACD. So this is giving us the 1 minute MACD for the 1 minute, because the price action over here is feeding into showing us these patterns. But when we shift this, we're now going to shift this to 3 time frames higher. Now we're looking at a 1 minute on top and a 3 minute on the bottom. So if I change this to a 5 minute, now if you follow the math, the MACD is going to be 3 time frames higher. So you're looking at a 15 minute MACD while looking at a 5 minute chart. And that, I can tell you, will be a powerful combination.
Question,
Yeah.
does the force table
Mm-hmm.
change to a 15 minute, or is that still on the same?
This won't skip a beat.
Yeah, that'll stay.
This will stay, because this is telling you very precise pieces on each thing. So even looking on, like, so right now we're on the M5 on top.
Yeah.
This is we have to go to right here. So we're looking at the 5 minute on the top. So on the 5 on the MACD, it's saying red on the 5. But on the bottom, we're looking at the, where are we? 15, which is green, because right now it's green. So this is giving us a lot of info all in one place.
Yeah.
This little MACD twist is allowing us to just jump ahead if we want to see it, but not. Because what you could do, if you really wanted to, if you got the screen space, you could just add 2 MACDs at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you could just go and, if you want to get a little crazy, copy and paste. And now if we just take this one back to not 3 time frames higher, and we keep, why is it? There we go. And this one, let's just double check. He is 3 time frames higher. And we just go to the 1. So now we're looking at, when it loads, let's just back it up so we can see something a little bit more. So now you're seeing a 1 minute over there, a 1 minute over there, and that's what the 3 minute looks like. So you could even do that if you wanted to, keep an eye on all of them at the same time. Yeah, there's a lot, but
I got a little screen.
yeah, it's like, too much. Too much.
already hurts my head.
Especially with the 1, 3 and the 8 on it as well.
But I mean, I'm used to looking at these side by side, because I'm looking at 1 minute top and bottom to 3 minute top and bottom, and they're separated nicely. It's kind of, anyway,
And show us the table again.
Yeah, let me just get rid of him to make
Just
some,
need to get a projector to get a bigger screen.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I could do that. I could trade really.
Oh yeah, just take over your whole living room like this and just sit there on a big wall.
I made it giant size.
Yeah, it is in giant at the moment, so that we can.
My records.
So in real terms, you're going to be having a gap. Like, price action is going to stop somewhere, and if you give yourself enough space, you could just have that chilling out on the right hand side. Obviously, probably not that big on your screen, but
Is that bottom table real time here?
yeah, that's where the market's closed on Saturday morning.
Should we go to gold now and see what it's doing?
It'll also be Bitcoin will be the only thing moving right now.
Or Ethereum.
Yeah. So,
BDC, I've turned it off just for illustrative purposes. Do you want to add it back to the table?
oh, yes. So inside of those settings,
I just turned Bitcoin off.
but there we go. So,
You're gonna get an influx of people asking for different options now.
oh, well, and that's the beauty of it, is you guys have all been able to feed in, and the results of what, like the finished products that we have at the moment are the result of your guys' feedback.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know anyone else in any other thing I've been a part of where they've had a developer do anything quickly. It takes months. We waited, I think, 3 months for one in-house developer just to give us bearish divergence lines or bullish divergence lines on the MACD when our educator wanted them. It took months. And it was kind of like, oh, yeah. So,
Yeah, just takes a walk on the beach.
yeah, Dad takes a walk on the beach. And goes, I could do that. Yeah, so in this case,
It just came to me. Walking my dog.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, you
Cost
can,
money though on the
Definitely.
charts.
yeah. I mean, so you can see all the, I mean, here, obviously lots, you know, you can see, this is what I mean by multiple divergences. You got one here, and then at that point where my cursor is, price did pull back, but it wasn't a big giant reversal. It went back up again, but now this one here, on a high time frame, it'll be more obvious, but you have got a lower peak there. And there's nothing to say
On
that this,
Instagram too, there's
yep,
divergence.
and between there, and anyway, that's why only doing divergence is way too risky. So anyway, yeah, fun times.
This MACD on the higher time frame setting.
This is currently on, no, it's not. So there we go. Now it will jump and it'll look smoother. When it loads, there we go. So
That
that's
trend
the,
table and
there you
the,
go.
and the updates on the MACD, those are just mini updates. That's not part of version 4. Or are they separate?
At this
Or-
point, I'd say it's probably, well, that table's going to always remain. So that'll stay part of V4. And the ability to do this, I can't see any reason why to remove it. It's in there. Yeah, we'll see. Try and get little clues about version 4. I mean. No.
Not really version
No.
4, that's just
No,
like-
that's just like, this is like our version 3 MACD, catching up to version 3 on the top.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, there is,
It is a version 4 MACD, but that's what we decided.
that's
on
the
which way to
conversation point
Yeah.
at the moment. So
But it's
Yeah.
going to simplify. The version 4 is going to simplify things and make easy to read the chart by a long way.
yeah. Yep.
I guess a question on
Yeah.
that table, if you look at the gold where it shows all the time frames green,
Hmm.
would you then wait for reversal? Or,
Yeah, pushing buy right now is risky.
because and when do you know?
Yeah.
So you need to wait for
Yeah.
which will technically be a counter trend then, and then you just hope it.
Yeah, so like this right here, you can see how far away we are from the 233 all the way down here.
Wow.
So yeah, thanks NFP. So that's where we are right now. There's teal, 32. Okay, so 32 pip. That's 320 pips.
Normal pips.
The 233 is 360 pips down. The healthiest pullbacks, you to bounce and look for a re-entry have to hit something like that usually. If it came down and gave us a good double bottom off teal and a buy signal, I'm in. Like teal is a 4-hour trend zone. That's good. And by the time price comes down to there, the 233 will actually be up there. So if you get a cluster, that'd be cool. And there should be, I mean, that's just, yeah, I mean, look, there's the divergence already kind of showing up between, the higher highs across there and the lower highs. So that we're due for a little bit of pullback, and we're inside of a big reversal zone here too. We could go a bit higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if it turned. Yeah, but that's the thing. When everything is green and you want to join it, then it's kind of healthy when like the 1 and the 3 go red and things start to just roll over a little bit, because then the high time frames then start bullying those lower ones back on trend. So having a little 1 minute, 3 minute, whatever pullback coming down, then hitting something significant, starting to turn around, lights then start going green, then you're joining the big trend. You're just getting back on trend. But joining right now is like pushing by at right at the peak potentially, while there's also bearish divergence. So look, it can do anything on Monday because, yeah. So, and when market opens, it'll be Asia, Sydney and Asia, and obviously gold can move really well with that. But once London and New York catches up, because Sydney and Asia weren't able to have any of this massive move up didn't include them. So it'll be very interesting to see how it responds. Because that is I mean, just to give you guys context, this was a move from down there. Yeah, it was NFP started right on the bottom of that candle, 1230. So we are up from there 600 110 pips from that. So from like midnight, the New York session did that basically. But I can tell you, those 1 minute candles were really fun. Like, yeah, that, I mean, let's just turn off Heikin-Ashi. I mean, that's a 5 minute candle, but even just the 1 minute, I gotta go back because it's
before that, or did you wait for
hours before that. Somewhere,
Nice.
yeah, I was in a protected position down here.
Text me.
Honestly, I should thank my wife and my accidental sleep in, because
only half those pips there?
Yeah, of course, some steps in there.
honestly, I set my alarms all week. I was getting up early. I'm getting back into the rhythm because I haven't been getting up early for the last little while. And alarms is going off. I've been waking up my wife and annoying her, getting up. I had the Zoom link created.
Yes.
Anyway, both of us did not hear any alarms. But because of that, I slept in, and then I was quite awake in the night. And honestly, I was only I wanted to go to bed, and Jess was really feeling like we should get more XRP. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I went, put through some buys, and it was taking a while to land. And then I said, oh, let's have a look at the charts. And I saw what was going on. I'm like, I zoomed out. I mean, let's just first look at this 1 minute candle. I mean, these 1 minute candles are insanity. The dollar is the inverse of this at the same time. So that right there is 110 pip 1 minute candle.
Wow.
3 minutes with 250 pips up. Oh no, or 4 minutes, sorry. Yeah, so that was fireworks in the best way. So I was like somewhere down, where was I? 9-ish? Yeah, somewhere, I was in somewhere down here-ish. And then I got this first run, and so I was like, it was 10:30, 11. I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. I've set my stop loss. I'm covering. I'll just see what happens. I feel like it's going to go up if X, Y, Z. And then it eventually was midnight. I'm like, I'll stay up. And I did. But this is why. I'll show you on the 4 hour. So, anyone... This is kind of the fuel. I was waiting for that. And it'll be a bit more obvious on the one... Well, you guys know that pattern down there on the 4 hour, but on the 1 hour, that wasn't present yet. So I was watching these 1 hour bullish flat bottoms after that pattern, bearish, doji, bullish, and in the middle, I was already in, but then once these started showing, I was like, if these candles close, 10 o'clock closed, 11 o'clock opened on the other side of that trend line. And that's pretty heavy trend, like it goes back to up there. And so at that point, the MACD was, this high time frame will look different, but I was zoomed in pretty heavy. But I was watching this high time frame going, these significant candles are closing on the other side of this trend line. We're finally, because we've rejected it there, we rejected it there, but these were actually closing on the other side. And so that gave me the bias that NFP is going to send this thing. And so it did. It was good fun.
So is it not a gap to fall?
I don't know. I didn't see, there's definitely imbalances. If you go to the 1 minute chart, and you have to obviously be on normal candles, there's definite, the wicks are not shaking hands on those giant candles at all. So, yeah, there's like that, these are just giant gaps potentially of orders that haven't been, so this is why I'm really interested to see what happens when Asia and Sydney open up, because their day ended, down there, and this thing just took off. So look, if they were in buy positions holding earlier on, then they're stoked. But, it'll just be very interesting to see what happens, because price will usually return to, like momentum, there's a whole lot of people over the weekend, there'll be news, there'll be a whole lot of people just saying, I should be buying gold right now, like actual gold. And then that is just a great reason. Like the markets always move to cause the most people the most amount of pain. And so in that sense, this coming all the way back down to this trend line wouldn't surprise me either. It could come all the way back down, just get rid of anyone who's holding, thinking this is just going to keep going, come back down, give a bounce, and maybe then go again. But yeah, could definitely. When things move that fast up, they usually do the opposite also when they get into that space. So yeah. But those high time frames. Any other questions?
What happens if someone with a premium account of trading view downloads 20 years of trading data? What do we ask ChatGPT about it?
It's a very good question.
Speaking for a friend.
Man, give me that report.
You get a hold of 20 years of NASDAQ chart
Yeah.
data and load it into ChatGPT.
Yeah.
What would I ask?
We've been chatting about that.
Ask ChatGPT what to ask.
Yes,
No, I've heard that people using ChatGPT.
Could we say, well, hang on,
Yeah.
I'm trading at this particular time of the day in
Yeah.
New Zealand. there's some things I should ask based on the times I'm likely to be trading. I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally. I have
What kind of things? Has anyone got an idea?
not recently, but in the past asked it to give me, because I don't follow like the market data as such of like the interest rates and the sentiment and all that, and I just asked for a summary. And if it's like the dollar tanked and that sent gold, so it's like there probably would have been some helpful information if I bothered to ask it, like, hey, what do you think's going to happen with the interest rates? Like, are they going to stay put or this, or non-farm payroll? Have they got any information already?
You can do that every morning.
Pretty much. You could figure out getting, and it's going to, depending on when you're trading, obviously, it's going to mean a whole lot more before the US Open. London as well.
You can
Asia.
do the same prompt for every day.
Yep.
And just run that same.
There you go.
Like make a little GPT.
Yeah.
That did that for you every day.
Yep. Create an agent that is spitting you out news in the morning. Because getting his notebook out, making notes about like create agent. Yeah, I mean, that's something I've thought about, haven't toyed with yet. Like I'm interacting with ChatGPT a lot. My next big mission was to think about creating an agent and feed all of our frequently asked questions into it. So it can spit out answers when I'm not looking at my phone. But in terms of analyzing and crunching data,
Like literal CSV files of like a 1 minute chart.
Yeah.
Years and years.
That'd be very interesting to read.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah,
If you've got the premium version of trading.
I'm pretty sure. It's an expensive version of TradingView. I love it. I love when our powers combine and our brain will figure this thing out. Yeah.
It'll definitely help if you ask the questions, but prior to NFB news.
Yeah. Well, this is the craziest thing. The news release is at 12:30 a.m. The second this thing hit 12:30, I just saw a green candle go through my screen. Like the second. So it's like, riddle me how this stuff works. And I've seen other guys do screenshots of certain charts and major sell-offs and then the news release. Like certain groups, insider trading, it is what it is. You can find insider trading on the charts if you go looking for it. Because it's big money that moves these things. Like, it's not us. So they obviously know straight away what those results, I don't know how their algorithms execute those huge buy orders the second those results get, I don't know if it's like the Bloomberg terminal or something, I don't know. Like, but it's, yeah, we're not moving those candles. Maybe Dad's demo account. No. Yeah. I love that thinking though. It's very cool. Might as well unshare this thing. Ta-da. Well, that's way too much of me on that screen. Well, because we're getting on a little bit and we can just keep mingling, that might, for the sake of the recording, wrap us up. So, thanks for watching, everyone. That was a whole lot of fun. Round of applause for Dad while we wrap this up. Woo! See you in the next one. Good night.